Calm down. It's all right. They can't reach us. Come on, let's go.
Hello and welcome to Rock Paper Shotgun. This is Alice, and if I sound a bit on edge, it's because I've just escaped the rat-infested disease kingdom of a Plague Tale Innocence. And let me tell you, after being held captive by so many different simulation games, from The Sims to City Builders, I was so excited to finally get stuck into a narrative-driven, linear action adventure puzzle game. When I'm building my virtual cities, I often wonder what the rat situation must be like underneath them. Now, thanks to Asobo Studio, I have a better idea. I am never going into a Sims basement again. And a top tip for any basement lovers, make sure it has lots of light. That way the rats won't be able to pile out of any holes you might have in said basement to get you, and get rid of any dead horse bodies you might have lying around. They love them.
Oh no! The rats! Keep away from them!
The little ratties in Plague Tale fear the light and love the dark, and they'll swarm to even just a toe that steps into the shadows with their beady little bright eyes, and they move in swarms. Imagine a swarm of the Black Plague just scuttling towards you with those little nippy teeth. What a way to go. As much as it creeps me out, I'm glad to say that A Plague Tale really delivers. It's got emotion, it's got puzzles that confused the hell out of me at first before realising I was massively overcomplicating it. It's got horrific human enemies and evil fairy ones too. After some early hours with too much hand-holding, with handy Tomb Raider-esque white marks on walls where you can jump up and a know-it-all 5-year-old to point out all the stuff you're missing, the game leaves you on your own in 14th century plague-ridden France, and it's up to you to solve the puzzles on your own. The 14th century was full of fancy things like kings and queens, knights and castles, but the game swerves away from anything classy like that. Instead, it's more like our heroes have accidentally wandered into a nasty patch of history. They're just trying to escape, but every new level is like stepping into an even more unpleasant Wikipedia entry. Plague, the 100-Year War, the Inquisition. I love how Asobo take real history and spins something fantastical. You'll note accurate details, the white crosses on the doors, and, everyone being dead, but as soon as the rats surface, you're into the supernatural. If you insist on getting your Tony Robinson on, there are hidden collectibles, incredibly hard to find if your name is Alice, that shine real-life history on the horror show unfolding around you. It's quite easy to read the word plague and expect your biggest threat to be hordes of rats. But here your most evil enemies are humans. The humans that are out to hunt down you and your brother Hugo. And what a smart idea it is. Nasty humans patrol well-lit areas, but if you take to the shadows, you'll be taken by the rats. It's a dilemma that Asobo squeeze a lot of mileage from. And there's the mystery of Hugo himself. He's been looked after by his mother in quarantine for his entire life, and has next to no relationship with his sister Amicia. Amicia has no clue what's wrong with her brother, why he was kept from her, or why their mother was so secretive about it all. But on the night the Black Death arrives in your gorgeous French farm, you, playing as Amicia, must look after your brother and escort him to safety. I know what you're doing, you're rolling your eyes at the word escort. Well, don't. There's no need. This is an escort game like no other. On a simple nuts and bolts level, Amicia and Hugo move as one for most of the time, so you don't have to worry about dud AI blowing your cover like the hundreds of virtual numbskulls we've babysat in the past. But it's a good narrative hook too. Amicia is tough and ready for adventure. She doesn't let much shock her or throw her, apart from her first kill, which is brilliantly dealt with, and she is very good at looking after Hugo.
I didn't want to.
I'll be honest, I was worried about Hugo slowing us down, causing us problems, but really he's a very good boy who's just really confused. He doesn't even know what the plague is. Look at this chump trying to shove plague apples down his gob. Thankfully, that's about as dense as he gets. Due to its escorting nature, A Plague Tale has been frequently likened to The Last of Us, and I can see why. It feels like you're playing a 14th century Lara Croft, if she had a brother, was French, and alive in the 1300s. This is very much the Joel role, from her resourcefulness to her incredibly realised characterisation. This leaves Hugo as Ellie, if Ellie was 2 foot tall and needed a lift over every wall she came across. The script writing and voice acting in this game got me incredibly attached to the siblings and the friends they meet along the way. By the end of it, I felt like I was Amicia and Hugo's third, invisible, silent sibling and wanted to give them both a very big hug, after disinfecting them first. At the beginning of your playthrough, you might be concerned with it being a pretty looking game with a nice story, but one that plays out on rails with no room for your own judgment. AI that pretends to be smart and very rigid solutions to every obstacle the game throws in your face. But these worries don't hold up. There is room for error, and there is more often than not room to right yourself. As the tale progresses and Amicia's pockets begin to fill with alchemist gadgets, some of the levels even begin to feel a bit sandboxy in the ways you can tackle them. Do you want to go for stealth takedowns, distracting noises, or play with light and dark to lure rodents to any meat bag in your path? The correct answer is, always use the rats. Amicia, Hugo, and all the other orphans you meet all bring their talents to the table, meaning you'll be able to solve some puzzles more quickly because of them, learn new things, or just have someone new to chat to. However, with these strengths come their weaknesses. Every orphan gets killed in one hit. That may be one hit from a spear, an arrow, or a sword, but you'll need at least 5 or so rats to take you down, because once those 5 grab a hold of you, more arrive shortly after. You're incredibly vulnerable in a Plague Tale, and that feeling never goes away. You can get as many new abilities as you like, or upgrade all of your equipment to its fullest potential. Something I never did, by the way, as I was always using material to make sure I crafted full supplies of every item, something I'd not do if I were to play again. But you are always at risk of death. Be that from the Inquisition seeing you in the light, or by being seen by the little rats as you accidentally step a little too far into darkness. But I appreciated this new feeling, this vulnerability. It was incredibly frustrating at times to be spotted, manage to get away from one guard only to have many more pile in and kill you. It was overwhelming in a way that made the game feel tense and real. I was so incredibly grateful for the checkpoints. This vulnerability is only made even more obvious when you see all of the dead bodies strewn around all over the place. Some have been eaten to the bone, some have been eaten from the waist down with guts pouring out of their bellies. Death is all around all the time. It doesn't help that little Hugo is a little bit of a liability sometimes, having to help him up and over ledges before you can get yourself up, and often having to leave your life-saving torch behind as apparently Hugo can't grab hold of the torch as you lift yourself up. Each time you think you're getting through a level easy peasy, a new obstacle gets in your way. And often when you meet new obstacles for the first time, you are handily introduced to other orphan heroes who can help with a puzzle or two. It is these orphans who will give you new ways to progress through levels even when they're not in them, like a recipe for igniting a bunch of rats on the floor or some embers, or one to extinguish fire. But the best thing about a Plague Tale are the numerous ways to solve a puzzle. Sometimes you'll get a hint or two from whoever your partner may be at this point in time, but if you figure out your own way to do it, then you can do that instead. It's this sense of having ownership over what Amicia does that really made me feel like I was playing a Plague Tale my way. By the end, I had real empathy with Amicia. I don't have a younger sibling, but neither did she really. She didn't know Hugo, she barely got to know him in the year since his birth. She's immensely jealous of the love shown to Hugo by their mother, and it shows throughout. It doesn't take much for Amicia to really take on the role of the protector for Hugo after what ails him comes to light. She does her utmost to keep her word to their mother and never lets him out of sight. Okay, she does maybe once or twice. The story is rich, gripping, and genuinely realistic, even surrounded by all of these shadow-loving rats and one-try headshot kills from a rock and a slingshot. It's not just telling the story of the Black Death and the Inquisition, it's about love, trust, letting people in, and learning to understand others. The attachment of the characters makes every death of any key character feel genuinely painful. They are brutal to watch no matter who they are killed by, and it just makes your own mortality feel ever more present. I won't reveal any in this video, but you should see the list of embargoed deaths. That sucker is long! The game is beautiful, from its story to its lighting effects to its incredibly detailed 14th century France surroundings. Asobo are based in the region the game is made, and that authenticity shines through. It's got a nice progression of difficulty throughout, right up until the end, where I found it so incredibly frustrating as the difficulty ramped up from about a 4 to an 8 with very little prep beforehand. It's all relatively realistic too, besides the whole stone in the head one kills and something weird and gross in your brother's blood thing. But I love the moments you get to turn rats against your human enemies. Controlling rats by light to get them to do your bidding by killing any guard in your way is incredibly satisfying. Using an enemy to kill another enemy is just fantastic. The rats are good boys, really. While I admire the way the game constantly adds new ideas to the mix right up to the final level, I'm not sure the very end of the game lands for me. The introduction of a more unusual mechanic undermines some of the skills you've been mastering and makes you wonder why you bothered investing in them all along. But up to that point, it's nicely paced. From the story to the puzzle solving to the gradual way you learn to take the fight to the guards. Oh, and doing your best to avoid killing rats. They don't mean to be bearers of a terrible disease, misunderstood. Something that says a lot about the game to me is the fact that I really want to replay it. I want to find all of the curiosities scattered throughout the world, I want to find all of the flowers for Hugo's herbarium, and I want to upgrade all of my equipment to the best it can be. I want to find new routes to solving puzzles, and I want to dive back into the world Asobo created. Really, it's not a nice world. They've done an amazing job of creating one of the most horrendous environments I've ever had to traverse through, but I want to experience it all again. I'm actually quite jealous of all of you watching this video, having, I assume, not played the game yet, getting a chance to have a go at it for the first time from today. Not sure if it's too early to say, but it could easily be a Game of the Year contender for me, even with all the dead animals. There you have it, our Plague Tale Innocence review. For more good things from Rock Paper Shotgun, why not check out Matthew's latest Rage 2 review? Or if you feel like a Plague Tale is seriously missing hat customization, check out our Code Vein preview. Overall, the Rock Paper Shotgun video team really enjoyed A Plague Tale, and we hope you enjoyed our coverage of it. If you have any questions about anything, please pop them in the comments and we'll do our best to answer them. If you enjoyed this video, please do like it, and if you haven't already, subscribe to Rock Paper Shotgun for more videos on new releases.